Hey friends, so today I want to give you a bit of a peek into their songwriting process and how we turn a bunch of riffs into a song demo. So there's been a heap of really good ideas coming out lately. We've hit a pretty good patch in terms of writing. It's always a good idea to get them down while they're nice and fresh in everyone's brain, and also before a minor math beat us to it. So if you haven't seen that video that we put up on Instagram the other day, I'll leave a link in the description. It's a pretty interesting little tale and something we're hoping to not fall victim to again. So when we're coming up with new material, we find it useful to do a couple of collaborative sessions, or if someone's got an idea, just to get a rough demo of that down and then try to build a full song from that idea to take to rehearsals. So there's been times where we've gone in with just riffs and tried to work on them throughout the day and sort of collaborate that way. We kind of find it's not as productive as going in and having a pretty strong basis for a song already built. So for this one, I'm going to be working with a couple of riffs that Cribby wrote. Not even sure when. It was a fairly long time ago, but in front of me here, I've got the recording from a little off-the-cuff jam that we did at rehearsal. And I know that I've got a couple of riffs in my vault that I think might work well with this song. So let's have a look at these couple of riffs of Cribby's here and this little jam and see if there's anything salvageable from here. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to use that in a song, and I think that the riffs that I've got as well are going to fit pretty well with that. So from here, I need to go and learn how to play these riffs again because it's been a damn long time. Then we're going to track them into our new session here to a click track, and we're going to work with them from there. Alright, so I've saved you all the pain of watching me learn how to play those riffs. I think I've got a pretty good idea of them now. So I've got my session all set up here. I've got my drum track ready to go, and that's just using Superior Drummer. Got a track for the bass here. I've got some bass ideas to go in. That's just using Parallax. And I've got a couple of guitar tracks here, and we're just using the Archetype Gojira for that. I've basically worked out that the tempo of this song is about 160. So I've got a tempo track set up, we've got a click track here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to retrack those guitar parts to the click track. So there's the two riffs of Cribby's there. So what I want to do now is I want to see whether the riff that I've come up with is actually going to work with this here. Alright, so that's my riff there. I think it'll work with that. So before I go too far here, what I'd like to do now is probably go in and throw the second guitar track on there. I already know in the intro here, I'm thinking about doing something completely different with the second guitar. And this is something that we do a lot in our songs is we have a guitar playing a melody, and then we'll have another guitar or the bass holding chords underneath it, and kind of gives it a little bit more sense of the actual tonality of the song. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I've got an intro idea, which I actually think is probably going to be the chorus as well. We've got the verse, we've got a pre-chorus. So because I know that these ideas are probably going to be repeated in different sections of the song, what I'd do now is probably just go in and cut and paste these sections and put them where I think they're going to live. That gets us through to the middle section of the song now. This is a part of the song where we'll typically put either a breakdown, maybe an alternate verse like a bridge, or a solo might go in here. I do have an idea that I'm going to try here, a little bit of a breakdown-y sort of idea, and I'm also thinking about maybe putting in a little bit of a harmony section as well. I'm thinking that I'm going to have the second guitar do something different over the top here, so I've got a little bit of a tappy idea I want to try out over the top of that. So let's put that guitar in. Alright, so they're basically all my guitar ideas down now. I'm thinking just coming out of that section, back into our last chorus, and maybe breaking back into that riff for the ending of the song. So I'm going to copy and paste those last couple of sections in there now, and we'll have a look at doing some rough drum tracks after that. So I've got all my tracks down, got everything cut and pasted, so I've got the whole song here now. I've got my intro to the ending. I've thrown some marker tracks up the top so I know what each section is. And now we'll get into putting some rough drums to this. Generally for most of my demos I like to include a rough drum track. I just think it's a little bit easier to get a picture of the song when you've got at least a bit of rhythmic context there. And it's a lot easier to sort of listen to things that have drums to them rather than just 6 different riffs pasted together, and it can be hard sometimes to pick up what the different sections are. So I'm not a drummer, but I do have a pretty fair idea of things that I think may work, like in terms of beats and grooves. We'll do a second copy of this when I send it out to the band, and I'll send a copy without drums to Nielsen, just so he's not sort of influenced by what I've done already. And then we take him to the jam room and we sort of try that out and to see what Nielsen comes up with, and when 9 times out of 10 he's going to come up with something a lot better than I have. But if there are certain sections that sound better with the drum parts that I put to it, then we can always go back and listen to the version with the drums and work out what to do from there. So I don't like to go in and program MIDI drums. I don't like to go in and write everything note by note. I use one of these little fellas, little Korg Nano pad, and what I'll do is I'll go in and do some finger blasting. Okay, so I got the Nano pad set up and it's triggering my Superior drummer here. So I'm going to go in and see if I can throw a couple of drum ideas down on this. We've got our full song idea here now with some drums to it, different bits here. So it's at this point now that I've pretty well got the instrumental stuff down. So I'm going to quickly run through, throw a bit of a bass line over this, and It's not always the case, but I do actually have some ideas for vocals on this one as well that I'd like to try out. For vocal ideas, I kind of like to use a similar method to James Hetfield, who, if you've ever heard any of the Metallica demos on their B-sides or anything, you'll find a lot of the songs on there, like there might be a few lines of lyrics in there, but then for the other sections where he hasn't got his lyrics written yet, he'll just sort of hum or na whatever. And it does sound ridiculous, but it is a good way to sort of get your phrasing for everything down, and then go back in and write your lyrics to fit that. So I kind of like that workflow. And for this, I actually had a couple of listens to this now, and I was in the car earlier, and I just pulled over and hummed a bit of an idea into my phone. So everyone's got a phone these days. You can record stuff on it really easy. I'll just go back and listen to that. I know already, I've only really got a chorus idea so far. I do have some rough lyrics as well, which I've written in my phone. So now I'm just going to go in and just quickly punch a chorus section in here now and just see whether this vocal idea works.
But in this mouse, picture what's really to last. I cannot live with this endless torment. When all what's pure is defined, you push it deeper inside. I cannot live like you, so far beyond the truth.
What I'll do now is I'll go in, give this a mix down, send out to the rest of the guys in the band, and then give them a couple of days to sort of listen to it, work out bits that they like and they don't like, give them a chance to learn the riffs, and then we'll take it to our next rehearsal and we'll work on it as a group there. How do we make that? Make that fit into a faster version. So that line, the riff, probably just the drums, just something to change. And the tail seems to drag on a bit. Can we play it again?
Because it's
boring. Say it how it is.
No, if you repeat it too many times, it's like, I think it needs to be just done once.
Is that the octave part?
Impactful.
What bit was that again? I missed it because I was turning this up. So how would we start it drum wise then?
How does the guitars go?
So it's going to be that weird tapping riff. Do something like that, yeah, and have the accents in the first bit, and then yeah. At the start of each of those riffs here it goes try and fucking match it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, but I can't hear it. Like, just play the guitar riff again.
So it'd be... Yeah, that's it. Without the pauses, it just kept going, but yeah, but it was pretty well the same feel, so. harmony bit after that, or not, like do the high bit.
Get the solo. I don't mind. Let's see how.
We can break that harmony fucking shit there.
Yeah.
Just play through it and just see.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to see if it works.
Alright, so we're on the home stretch now. We've taken it to rehearsal. We've got some new drum parts on there. We've changed a few things with the structure of the song. So in front of me here, I've got the audio from our rehearsal the other day. And I'm just going through now and I'm picking out the best parts of all the takes that Nielsen's done here. And I'm just copying them over into another track here. And this is going to become our pre-production track. The reason why this is really good is because this, being that this is all MIDI here, if we want to change tempos, we can do that really easily. We can just bump the tempo up here and this will all change and adapt. So any bits that we feel might need to be sped up a bit, might need to be slowed down, we can go in and do that. And then depending on how much the tempo is actually changed, we can either just go in, copy our guitar tracks from our previous session, bring them into here, and this is what we'll lay down our final tracks to once we get to the recording process. So there you have it. That's our songwriting process. So we've taken this track from just being a couple of riffs into now what's going to become a full song. And you can see why this is useful for a band like us that are so geographically challenged with every member in a different town, a bit of time between us all. So this is a good way for us to keep the ball rolling behind the scenes and to get some new music started. So I'm not entirely sure when this song is actually going to be ready to be released, but we have all the parts in place now for us to be able to go and track our final tracks to this. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to our channel, tell your friends, and we will see you next time.